Hello, hello, check. Woo! Buzzy buzz. Buzz today. It was much better yesterday. Although, I did look into the ground lift, aka hum canceller, Osama. And I think I may avail myself of said item because that looks like what I need. All right, greetings. Quickly, I got a after hours tip from Poppy Davis. Thank you. Bought me some coffees on buymeacoffee.com/blackbearnews. That is really a really great way to support the channel. Rockman Tips, also another great way to support the channel. YouTube Super Chats, also cool. Venmo and three prong. Sounds. Let me follow the cord here. I don't know. I'll try that out. I'll try it out. Maybe that'll work. I have some of those. I already have some of those. I will. All right. What's up, Rockman people? How you doing? Callers on call-in, please hold your calls until the end of the show, until the very end, or maybe, I don't know. I'm starting kind of late today, so I'm going to get through what I can get through, and I cannot go long. Um, so call-iners, with me today. We may calls later, possibly. Again, the sound problems are many and varied. It's not all on my end. There are lots of things going on in your ears, and best. Doing my best. That's what I. Mining aluminum F1 lightning is allegedly Amazon rainforest. Well, let's look at this. Let's check it out. There's a class action lawsuit against the owner of a refinery that produces aluminum ore used to make cars and EVs, including the F. So it's not necessarily just the F-150 Lightning that's making people sick. Sounds like they're making products for cars and EVs, including the F. So group them all in there, I guess. Oh, jeez. Getting a little sloppy there with the drink. Sorry. I'm wasting valuable coffee. That's something one should never do. I'm not hearing static cutting in and out. Oh, well, I hear some static. I hear just a hum. But not cutting in and out. I'm not hearing the intermittence, so I don't know. As I said, there are things that I'm trying to do. The crackle thing, I don't know what that is. I have no idea what that is. That's just a thing. Ha. Okay. Well, there's also a thing that's happening on StreamYard. So StreamYard is also like every once in a while, StreamYard will kick my sound out and say, "Oh, you've disconnected. Your mic is disconnected." Really? Okay, I didn't do anything. And I don't know what's going on with that. That happens some days. Other days it doesn't happen. So. I don't know. All right. Okay, we can go on and on. I could go on and on trying to troubleshoot my sound problems or talking about them, and I will not right now. Anyways, there's a class action lawsuit. The lawsuit represents 11,000 residents who live in communities close to the Hydro Alunorte refinery in Barcarena, Brazil. Barcarena, which is owned by the Norwegian aluminum company Norsk Hydro ASA. The suit's plaintiffs say that Norsk Hydro is responsible for an epidemic of illness that stems from rampant pollution. Those living in communities nearby allege that toxic the water supply of Barcarena, according to an investment. The lawsuit will try to hold Hydro accountable for 10 incidents that have polluted and endangered the community, and these incidents decades. Some places we call that. Oh, really? Now I have crackle? Jesus Christ. Check. All right. It should be back. Anyways, the Hydro refinery is allegedly releasing trace amounts of aluminum and other heavy metals, arsenic, chromium, cadmium, lead, and nickel into the area, which has led to birth defects and cancer, among other horrific illnesses. You mean they're making stuff and they're poisoning the countryside? Really? You mean they're making stuff and poisoning the air and the water and the land? Really? Wow. Who could have thought? According to one report, ore from Alunorte can be traced to aluminum used to build the Ford F-150 Lightning and the U.S. automakers is that Rouge Electric Vehicle Center and the Rouge Assembly Complex overall, where the best-selling vehicle in America is made. Really? The F-150 Lightning is the best-selling vehicle in America? Huh. Go read this report because it's a thorough look into allegations of pollution in the Amazon, which could only get worse as the industry ramps up production of fully electric vehicles. Yeah. Bloomberg explains that Ford switched from heavy steel to lighter aluminum to build the F-150 in 2015, and now that the truck will be sold as an EV, the company will need to offset the truck's weight even more due to the F-150 Lightning's battery. Basically, the advent of EVs will require increased mining and production of the lightweight metal to balance the load of heavy batteries in EV models like the Lightning. Automakers are looking to squeeze every last mile out of range of their upcoming EVs, including Ford. Golly, it seems like we've we've heard about this before, right? Seems like we've heard people talking about this before, that the switch over from fossil fuel vehicles to electric vehicles is really just actually increasing the mining and production and, shipping and all the things. Right? Timothy Martin says they are planning a lithium mine in eastern Oregon. We have to take back Indian lands first. We got this. Okay. Right, and that's the issue. That is one of the big issues with the whole green, economy, green revolution. I'm not against it on some basic level of looking for cleaner ways to operate, but mostly it means that we will continue to do the devastation to the planet, regardless of what's coming out of the smokestack, or if there even is a smokestack. Because there always is a smokestack somewhere, right? Just because there's no smokestack on an EV. There's a smokestack somewhere else making that EV. And the amount of mining that's going to be required, and all the materials that go into making an electric car, will have to exponentially increase in order to meet the demand, right, of our consumer lifestyles. And that is the problem. The problem isn't the CO2 coming out of your fossil fuel powered car. The problem is your consumer lifestyle. Oh, you're trying to make it my fault. Well, who's buying the F-150s? Only rich people? I actually highly doubt that. I think they're buying other things. If it's the best-selling car in America, who's buying it? Well, that would be you. Joe Plumber. Joe Bullshit Jobs, right? That's who's buying it. We're trying to make it your fault. No, well, I don't know. I don't know if it's a me problem or you problem. It sounds like a we problem. Scott Andrews says there are now sodium batteries coming out. China is making EVs using them this year. Does that mean better things? Less destruction? I don't know. I wonder. You got to put the sodium batteries inside of the thing, right? At the end of the day. The sodium batteries still have to inhabit what? The shell of the car. The car still uses rubber tires. All of these things get shipped all over the world. All the ingredients and the processes. I mean, it certainly sounds better, but what about all the externalities? Timothy Martin says they closed the F-150 production line. 2 trucks caught fire in the building. Yeah. Iron batteries, right? I've heard about that. I mean, again, I'm not against the idea of, perhaps we could stumble upon something or generate or produce something that is way more efficient or way less destructive or, lasts way longer or something. Will it enable us to downscale our consumption habits and the shipping and the mining and the manufacturing and the doing and the making and the buying and the selling and the, right? Is that going to enable us to actually do the thing that we need to do, which is like take it down a couple of 3,000 notches? I don't know. But in the meantime, we are destroying the planet hand over fist. Doesn't really matter. Doesn't really matter whether we're doing it with fossil fuel extraction or lithium extraction or aluminum extraction or I don't know. I don't know. Let's move on to another story, maybe. Poppy sent me this. The UK now has hit a tipping point and needed to take command of the food we produce amid volatility around the world caused by the war in Europe and the climate crisis. So we covered this the other day, that the UK is seeing a shortage of stuff. Vegetable shortages in UK could be tip of iceberg, says Farming Union. Energy prices, Brexit, and climate crisis means growers lack confidence to plant crops. Shortages of some fresh fruit and veg is such as tomatoes and cucumbers could be the tip of the iceberg. Anyways, well, there's a lack of confidence too, due to the fact that it's hard to grow things when you have weather whiplash or the seasons don't fall like they used to, right? And, on Wednesday, Tesco followed Aldi, Asda, and Morrison's in introducing customer limits on fresh produce. The shortages left supermarket shelves bare. The Environment Secretary, Teresa Coffey, caused a furor as she suggested that people should cherish seasonal foods such as turnips as bad weather cleared supermarket shelves of tomatoes and other fresh produce. She told MPs a lot of people would be eating turnips right now rather than thinking necessarily about aspects of lettuce and tomatoes and similar. But I'm conscious that consumers want a year-round choice, and that is what our supermarkets, food producers, and growers around the world try to satisfy, because we are entitled. We experience a standard of living and a way of life that has never been experienced on this planet prior to 50 years ago. And we think if we can't keep on experiencing that, somehow, that's an impingement on our human rights. Okay. The 50 years or even 100 years, the blip in time that we have been able to enjoy our industrial civilization as we know it to be now, is that just that it's a blip in time, and it probably won't be here much longer. So, instead of, complaining about it or trying to point a finger at somebody, just understand that's what's happening and that you should prepare yourself for another way of life. And I know people don't really want to engage with that. It sounds scary and stuff. Latest news, Timothy Martin says they plan to close salmon from Mexico to Tillamook Bay. Wow. Yeah, Sandy, you are I hardly leave the house, right? Um, well, anyways, that's happening. But maybe it'll all work out in the end. I don't know. I mean, I'm rooting for it. I actually am. I know this channel seems to be real doomy and stuff. I'm super rooting for it. But the thing is that it's what's true. I saw somebody leave the call in listener. I don't know. Maybe I said too much, but nature doesn't care about human rights, and I said this before. I'll say it again. I have a very brilliant friend on Facebook one day who said that, came on Facebook, made a post, which I don't know. For whatever reason, he can make posts like this and get away with it. But if I made a post like this, people would absolutely lose their minds. Like, I can't make a post like this on Facebook. He said, there are no such thing as human rights. Absolutely no such thing as human rights. We're born into this world to, do what we can with the gifts that whoever gave us, and and we're born in this world as it stands, and the resources are what they are, and the paradigm is what it is. There are no such thing as human rights. Human rights are a construct that we have given ourselves, and they are cool. They're really nice. I like human rights. I think human rights are an interesting idea, and a good one too for humans dealing with humans. But you don't understand that humans are not the end of the story, and not even the beginning of the story. But that's how humans act. Is that somehow we're the end and the beginning of the story, the alpha, omega, whatever. We are not. Nature doesn't care about human rights. Nature doesn't care about human rights, not one shred. Not one shred. Nature just is. And, do with that what you will. But when I saw my friend post that, I was like, this guy knows what's going on. I like this guy. He's my buddy. He understands. And some people were like, oh, sure. And other people were like, what? But it's true. It's true. Lori Lightfoot is not the mayor of Chicago, going to be the mayor of Chicago anymore. She looks very sad in that picture. Good Lord. And she was a one-term mayor. I think the first time that Chicago mayor has not been, an incumbent has not been reelected in like 40 years. So apparently people are just not happy with Lori Lightfoot. She said that's because of her race and because she's a lesbian. But listen, her policies were pretty stank. She did and said some things that people were like, what? No, that is not good. Tim says one-term bullshit job. Indeed. Anyways, she is gone. I don't know who is going to replace her. Probably somebody equally as horrible, regardless of their skin color or whether they're, straight or not straight. It's probably not going to matter. They're going to be equally as horrible. I think, did she replace, was it Rahm Emanuel that she placed? I mean, Rahm Emanuel is one of the most horrific creatures on the planet Earth. And so she replaced somebody just, not just pathetic, but downright evil, Rahm Emanuel. Oh, there you go. Chicago during the Richard Daley days. There, yeah. I mean, he also was. Chicago, pretty well known for being democratically corrupt, right? Democratically corrupt. They're always Democrats, but they are corrupt as corrupt can be. And Lori Lightfoot was kind of no different, right? She didn't really break the mold on that corruption thing or on the doing the dumb as a Chicago mayor. So, anyways, condolences to Lori Lightfoot. Um, but a lot of people were not very happy with her, and I imagine the replacement will not do anything different. Is that what Rahm Emanuel is now doing? He's an ambassador to Japan, covering up Fukushima. Okay. Has Chicago ever had an honest mayor? I don't know. Good question. I was kind of. I know I switched up doing political news. The Bears, says Tim. Yes, the Bear connection. Let me go back to what some links I had yesterday that I didn't get a chance to. Osama, I watched that video. Very interesting about waste heat will boil the oceans in about 400 years. Just real quickly, I'm not even going to play the video, but you guys know about Sabine and the scientific videos. Very interesting. Well, anyways, everything that we use, like our phones and computers, and in all the, the machinery that we use, and the actual like heating that we do, is not very efficient, right? She's a brainy doomer, yes. It's not very efficient. And it loses a lot of the heat, and all that heat actually does go into the atmosphere or go into the Earth system, and doesn't, a lot of it doesn't have a chance to escape. So then, and she says in a few hundred years that will be a big problem. Second law of thermodynamics, Bella Lugrisi says, yeah. What, and I found that, of course, it makes a lot of sense. And we can go, we can go back to the discussion I had with Joseph the other day. We're talking about the efficiency of the mirrors. And I don't know. I'm not here to come down clearly on one side or the other, but it does seem like things are not all that efficient. So, yeah, it's got, being a politician got to be a tough job. You're right. Thankless job. And I don't know. Rahm Emanuel still kicking around. Still kicking people while they're down. Yeah, he's a nutbag. Anyways, that was an interesting video if you guys are up for some information about the waste heat. But I mean, we also have global warming before that even happens, so it's probably not even an issue. We have to get past the global warming thing first, which doesn't look very likely. Going back to electric cars, that's what I wanted to do. Where are we? Electric vehicles weren't created to save the planet. They were created to save the car industry. Yeah. So the same applies to Jet Zero, which is very, very clever. You've heard of Net Zero, right? We've got Jet Zero. It's amazing the lengths we'll go in order to avoid what really must be done. Anyways, the aviation industry talking about how they want to zero out their emissions, or net zero, or jet zero. Ha ha ha. Yeah, so right, electric vehicles are not going to save the planet. They're going to save the car industry. They're going to give you another reason to buy another car and feel good about it. I mean, they are really cool. And they are. They're cool. I see a Tesla, I'm like, huh, that's a nice machine. Unfortunately, that machine is a dream. I mean, in the end, yes, Judy Truitt, in the end, we all will be forced to buy electric powered things. Even if we don't want to, right? Even if you're not, right? Because if we make it far enough into the future, the fossil fuel powered vehicles will be phased out and the electric vehicles will be phased in, and that's what we'll be buying if you want to buy something like that. The UK would have to devote half its farmland or more than double its. Are they talking about biofuels? Get out of here! I thought that was not even a thing. Well, I'm jumping ahead of myself. Biofuels were dumb like 15 years ago. Okay, people. So can we stop even talking about biofuels? But I mean, they're still burning like wood pellets. It seems to be a thing they're doing in Europe, burning wood pellets as if it's a renewable resource. It is not. It is not. It is not. That would be a biofuel. Biofuels are even more destructive than fossil fuels. And then there's that. But they're trying to go net zero. They're trying to make you think they care. They're trying to make you think that we can do it this way. We can still have all the things and all the salmon on our shelves that we could possibly desire, and all the vegetables every time of year that we could possibly desire, and buy all the things that we could possibly desire, and do the gendered reveals that we could possibly desire, because we have the money and we work for it and we deserve it. Anyways. They would have to devote half its farmland or more than double its total renewable electricity supply to make enough aviation fuel to meet its ambition for jet zero or net zero flying. Scientists have said. A report published on Tuesday by the Royal Society argues there is no single clear, sustainable alternative to jet fuel that could support the current level of flying. Absolutely not. The scientists say that while the government and aviation industry have set a target of 2050 to balance out emissions, huge challenges remain around the availability, costs, and impacts of alternative fuels, as well as the need for new types of planes and airport infrastructure around the world to allow the most probable long-term solutions. Every single thing in that sentence is a planet destructor or destroyer. Alternative fuels, new planes, airport infrastructure. No, like none of those things are going to help anything. All of those things should be ditched forthwith. Significant further research and investment would be needed, blah, blah, blah. Green hydrogen, biofuels, ammonia, and synthetic fuels or e-fuels. Producing enough biofuels will require about half of UK agricultural land, while other feedstocks such as municipal waste could only contribute a very small fraction of the jet fuel requirements. That is not happening. I'm sorry to tell you. Making sufficient green hydrogen or ammonia to power future plants will require well over double today's entire UK renewable electricity generation capacity. E-fuels or synthetic fuels. This is just where it just gets, okay. Which are made by capturing and converting carbon dioxide from the air would require 5 to 8 times today's UK capacity. Can we do it? Anyways. They keep putting out this number. Aviation CO2 accounted for 2.4% of global emissions. I don't believe that number. I don't believe that number at all. I don't believe there's thousands of planes in the sky all day long. I can't. I don't buy that 2 point whatever number it is. That's what aviation is contributing. I don't buy. I don't. It just doesn't even. I don't see it. I don't get it. But I'm. This is just me winging it off the cuff, hunching. It sounds like like creative arithmetic to me when they say 2.6% of the total emissions. I'm like, are you sure? That sounds like, well, countries can leave out, what their military contributes to CO2, right? Or, the USA does that. So we have, here's our emission number, but it's not counting the entirety of what the military pumps out regarding emissions, right? I just feel like there's probably extra. They're not counting any externalities in, right, in those airplane emissions. I don't. It just doesn't make sense to me when somebody puts out that number. I'm like, really? Are you sure? Are you sure about that? Anyways, but sure, okay. Anyways, they're gonna try to do. We're gonna power planes with waste oils and fat. Maybe we can use waste heat. Right? Sabine was talking about, how they're heating homes with the waste heat from power plants or other factories. Maybe we can power planes with waste heat. I don't know. I don't know. Here's a good one from the End of the World Party. Electric vehicles are not a climate solution. Carbon capture is not a climate solution. Hydrogen is not a climate solution. Nuclear is not a climate solution. Geoengineering is not a climate solution. Voting liberal is not a climate solution. That too. Yeah. All those are true. And which makes it makes it awful difficult if you're somebody promoting a solution to the climate change. Bless you on your way to certain doom, because I'm saying that. I say that because it's, trying to come up with a climate solution or be a part of the solution or propose solutions. It's hard. It's hard because so many of them are not solutions. So many of them have, problems, holes, whatever. So there's that. So I have a little bit of empathy for those involved in the thankless task of sitting around and going, I wonder how we could fix this. It's a hard one. It's a hard one. And I propose my solutions all the time. And to the rousing applause of the chatters and everyone saying, "Shut up. That's stupid. Don't say that. That's opium. Cut it out. It's ridiculous. Over the falls, Ma. That's. But so propose. I must propose. I must. If I were to propose climate solutions. We'll wind up with bullshit jobs. Something about bullshit. Something bullshit jobs. Because that's what we're here for, right? That's what I promised you. The past 30 plus years of more jobs completely fried the earth. I don't know. We could probably go back even farther than 30 years. I'm pretty sure. But remember when the Earth Day started? Maybe 50 years ago. And since then, emissions have only risen. Remember when the first COP happened, or the first couple of climate accords happened, 30, 40 years ago? What happened? Well, emissions went up. Destruction went up. Humans went up. Economic activity went up. It all went up. It kept on going. So, I don't know. So, yeah, last 30 years, pretty damaging. Because it keeps on going. And guess what's happening next year? To the moon. Straight to the moon, Alice. Anyways, Joe Biden still takes pride in creating more jobs. While half the U.S. is running out of water, and his wife appeals for countries to join the U.S. to help alleviate the suffering. And I mean, I'm sorry to the people everywhere, but we're trying to export all the bullshit jobs to the whole world. Would you like to have some bullshit jobs too? So we can really get going on destroying the planet? And everybody's like, well, yeah, it's our human right. That is our right as humans, to do the bullshit jobs and destroy the planet some more. Okay. I mean, and some people propose the answer is that, well, we'll give everybody else the bullshit jobs, but the people in the West got to give up their stuff, and then everybody else has the stuff, and then somehow that will equal out, and then somehow that's gonna fix it. Somehow we're gonna do. Hold on, let me get on my calculator. Everybody else will get the stuff, and I don't know. How are we going to do that? Anyways. But East Africa is in the middle of a drought, and South Africa is in the middle of a energy crisis, and not just East Africa. There are a whole lot of places in the middle of droughts and future hunger scenarios. And there's a lot of reasons, but one of those reasons is the climate change. The climate is changing. The climate is changing. People can no longer find the water, grow the crops, feed themselves. That's an issue. Is it really Guy's birthday? Well, happy birthday, Guy. That's an issue to people that don't have to people that can't store all the food and lock up all the food and keep all the food and have all the food and have all the resources to buy more food. That's who it impacts first. and then eventually that that the slow creep of not being able to grow the food. Well, eventually that'll creep into the people that are mad about eating turnips when they should be eating lettuce. How dare you imply that I can't have all the things? Nobody should be subjected to this. This is anti-human. All right. The McPherson paradox is that when you don't update your Mac, it crashes, but if you update it, it crashes faster. Yes. I haven't heard that version of it, but sure. I'd never update my Mac. Ever. Like ever. I'm afraid. I'm afraid to update my Mac. Like serious, like a real life fear, like in the middle of the night fear. Okay, guys, that's it. I'm wrapping it up today. I've got to head on out. Thank you guys for hanging out with me today. I got to take off. I got somewhere to be, and I got some things to do. And thank you for listening. And I will be back tomorrow at the regular time of 12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. I will do my very, very best to be on time. It's there's a lot going on these days, so it's I'm doing my best. All right, y'all. Thanks. And until next time, peace.